What is up, guys, and welcome to my review of WWE Summerslam 2016. First of all, as with most reviews, I'm tired because I stayed up watching it last night. It's not easy doing that as a UK fan. Sorry if the picture looks a little bit grainy. I'm using a laptop camera, but I'm actually using a webcam as a microphone. Actually, if I move it, you can probably see it now. That's what I'm using as the microphone. So before we get started, I just want to make one thing clear. If you're a Brock Lesnar fan, you're probably not going to like my review. That is perfectly fine. As I always say, get your thoughts in. Let me know what you think. Mainly on Twitter, as you guys always do. I'll be around probably tonight during Monday Night Raw. I will say before I do start the review properly as well that a lot of problems occurred with my network last night. Thus, I actually missed the Kevin Owens match, and beyond that, I actually believe I missed Cesaro versus Sheamus, as it was relegated to the pre-show. I don't know. I really feel like the network needs to get better at sorting itself out. Basically, the amount of times it freezes and all that, it's not very good. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a rundown of the results of the event, and then give you my opinion on the results itself, and then the way that I feel that it will affect future storylines. So just one more thing before we actually do start. I want to apologise that there was no SummerSlam predictions this time around, or forfeits. That is simply because I'm not in London where I normally am with Long Dick Sham. And we normally make our previews and such predictions and forfeits and all this. I did try and get a hold of Sham on a video call to kind of do a predictions thing, but it was, he couldn't get it up working on his end for what it's worth. So there'll be no forfeit, and it seemed pretty unfair to thrust my girlfriend into that situation where she don't know that much about wrestling. She knows a fair bit, but she doesn't know enough to, accurately predict the results. And as such, I looked at the betting odds on Coral, as I did place a few bets on it last night, and I suppose that really did influence which way I would have predicted things anyway. So start off with Jericho and Kevin Owens defeating Enzo Amore and Big Cass in a 12-minute and 8-second match, so say off Wikipedia. Okay, here's the thing. I didn't actually see the match, so I can't comment on the match, but the result, I really don't mind either way. I mean, Enzo and Cass, yeah, it would have been a huge scalp for them beating a former world champion and a former Intercontinental champion, a former multi-time Intercontinental champion, actually, in Kevin Owens. But if they're planning to have Jericho and Owens together for a little bit longer, like I think they should, because I think those two are gold together, them two getting the win, them two getting the win isn't necessarily a bad thing at all when you think about it. Enzo and Cass are popular enough and over enough to really, recover from it without too much of a problem, and that's all I can really say about that. Jericho, I believe, is what they're actually called now, which is quite weird. I mean, I will say some of Jericho's work with Big Show in the mid to late 2009 as a tag team was actually some of the best work of both of their careers. So I'm looking forward to seeing if Jericho can use his veteran psychology and prowess to really elevate Kevin Owens. Not that Kevin Owens needs elevating, but I think I've dug myself into a hole. Kevin Owens is good, but he's not Jericho good in terms of longevity in the WWE, is what I mean. To the casual audience, Kevin Owens has only been around for about 2 years. To me and most of you that are watching this, that's obviously not true. Okay, so Sheamus actually defeated Cesaro on the pre-show. That is a silly first match in the 7-series contest. Okay, so we're just going to practically ignore that Cesaro beat Sheamus like twice over the last month. Okay, I suppose. Sami Zayn and Neville defeated the Dudley Boys on the pre-show. What the hell are the Dudley Boys? Sorry, what the hell are Sami Zayn or even Neville doing on the pre-show? I don't know. Up next, we had arguably what most people think is the shock of the night. However, I actually looked at the betting odds, I believe, on Friday afternoon, and I was quite shocked to see that Sasha Banks was not good odds to retain her title. And I looked into this a little bit. Now, apparently, a lot of people were saying that Sasha Banks is or was busted for a drug violation of the wellness policy. Now, according to my sources, a few people that I've spoken to who are normally quite mega fans, are normally quite close to various different things and have been right about a few things before. In fact, one of the people I spoke to did say that Lesnar would end the streak before WrestleMania 30. I didn't believe it, but it happened. But no, they say that Sasha Banks has not been suspended. She is out injured or has a nagging injury, which, to be honest, she hasn't particularly got over way back since, when she was written off TV after WrestleMania 32. Apparently, it's a reoccurrence of a similar injury. I'm not sure, obviously, how true that is, but she was off TV for a long time. Some people were saying it was storyline. Reports then came that she was injured and various different things like that. And now, it could be that again. For what it's worth, since I originally done this research, Sasha was taken off WWE live programming and Raw events for the next 33 days. So you can see where people get the suspension idea. But nonetheless, Charlotte is women's champion. It doesn't look like we're going to see Sasha Banks for a while. And it's a shame because, the last thing we wanted is for Sasha to be seen as a transitional champion, especially when you consider that, especially when you consider that how good Sasha was and is. It's strange, but in that sense, hopefully someone else on Raw can pop up and try and win that women's title. Hell, if you don't know what you're going to do with it, why not just have Nia Jax flatten Charlotte tonight? I mean, I know that's a ridiculous thing to say, but then at least you have the ready-made monster heel for Sasha Banks to overcome when she gets back and thus win back her title. But the match itself was great. There was, I don't know, was it a reverse Frankenstein, a reverse Hurricane Runner? Like, oh my God. And that was brilliant. And the way Charlotte actually won the match was quite good as well. Like, it didn't make Charlotte, I don't know, Sasha Charlotte. Bloody, I'm lost my marbles there. But no, the way Charlotte won the match is basically, it's good. It doesn't make Sasha look too weak. It's good, but there were a few problems in the actual match. A few mistakes, but that is to be expected, especially if Sasha was nursing an injury, as we had thought or predicted. Now, Apollo Crews versus The Miz. The shock value would have been if Apollo Crews won, but I suppose they played it out well. For what it's worth, it was a solid match. I suppose they played it out well with Apollo Crews making that one rookie mistake, and then The Miz capitalized with a skull-crushing finale to pin Apollo Crews and leave it at that. We're going to skip over AJ Styles versus John Cena and come back to it just to get the last couple of matches out of the way. So Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson defeated the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods by disqualification, where Big E ran out and made the save. I don't know if that's what you can call it, but I don't think so, man. I mean, it weren't the right decision for me. I would have had Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows win, just simply because it's time. New Day have had the belt for a long, long time now, and it wouldn't have made things any worse. It seems whenever the club, well, they're not even called the club anymore, are they? Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, whenever they get a huge match, they never quite really see it through. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just it seems pointless to me, but we'll see what happens tonight. Maybe they'll win it tonight. Maybe they'll win it next pay per view. I don't know. It just seems the longer you leave it with I'm going to call them the club with Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, the longer you leave it with them, the worse it gets in the eyes of the casual fan, and that is the last thing we want because we know these guys are beast, but it's just not seen that way. Okay, so Eva Marie, Natalia, and Alexa Bliss defeated Becky Lynch, Naomi, and Carmella. Or was it Eva Marie? No, it wasn't. She was suspended a couple of days ago. And actually, reading here, and I saw this, but still, Nikki Bella made a surprise return. She got a big pop, which was actually quite shocking. It was quite good to see, actually. Nikki did deserve the pop. I mean, you know, so she came back from neck surgery. She's actually reinvented her finisher as well. And thankfully, it wasn't Becky Lynch that ate the pinfall again. I mean, I just don't want Nikki to be a heel. I feel like, you know, I suppose Becky is the top babyface, but, you know, without a women's title, it just seems like all these women on SmackDown, and I'm tired, man. I'm getting all the sleep out of my eyes, but it seems like all the women on SmackDown are fighting for nothing, and they clearly deserve better. I mean, even this match only went on 11 minutes, and you know that's a decent amount of time, but for a normal women's match, I'd say. But then when you consider the fact that it was, you know, a 6-woman tag match, I don't feel like every competitor got enough time in the ring. But that's only my personal opinion. Okay, now on to the last 5 main things. First of all, we're going to start off by saying in the least shocking result of the night, in my opinion, Dean Ambrose defeated Dolph Ziggler in a match that got more time than the main event. Well, yeah, 4 minutes odd. And actually, the main event actually only got 30, 38 more seconds than the women's tag match. So I don't know, man, what to make of that. But no, Dean Ambrose did defeat Dolph Ziggler. There was no Ziggler heel turn, which was a shock. One of these men needs to turn heel. But I just feel like this is the problem with WWE short-term booking. Like, where in the hell do you go now with Ziggler? Like, because you've had him talking all month, building himself up, and now you basically just slapped him down again and said, "Hey, buddy, it don't matter about all you said about proving yourself. Everything that Dean Ambrose said about you being a failure, being this, being that, being this is right." The match itself was good, but I must admit, man, I'm not the biggest Dean Ambrose fan, and I don't enjoy his matches, so I kind of just zoned out. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I have to be honest. It wasn't the best match either. It was an okay match, but it felt like, you know, it felt like I was watching a Raw match, really, and it feels like Dean Ambrose a mid carder. Dean Ambrose doesn't feel like a champion to me. He doesn't feel like, you know, a star to me. Like, you know, moving on, transitioning now to, obviously, I know AJ Styles and John Cena. We'll get to that in a minute. But when I was watching Finn Balor against Seth Rollins, even though Finn has technically only been on the main roster for a couple of weeks, he is more of a star to me than Dean Ambrose. And I know it could be the fact that, yes, as a bona fide wrestling fan, I know who Finn Balor is. I know who he was. I knew who he was in New Japan. I know who he is now. And he's arguably the top champion. You know, he's the champion on Raw. He's the real deal. He's the champion of the flagship show. Finn Balor is the man in WWE right now. How strange is that? Vince McMahon must. I don't know, man. This show has the fingerprints of not being run by Vince McMahon all over it. First, Mr. TNA, AJ Styles, defeats John Cena. Okay, fair enough. But Finn Balor then defeats Seth Rollins. But before we even get into the John Cena match, Finn Balor and Rollins was arguably the match of the night, in my opinion. A lot of people are going to give me flack for that and say Cena versus Styles was, but the emotion and the storytelling of the Cena Styles match, while it was great, I feel the fact that it was for the first ever Universal, to determine the first ever Universal Championship, the Finn Balor and Seth Rollins match definitely has my vote. And I love it when things happen like in, 2K16 or whatever, the sling blade that Finn Balor used, and then like the comeback, like a couple of signatures right into the coup de grace. And it was good, man. Seth Rollins by no means looked weak either. He didn't try and cheat to win. It was an awesome match, and I want to see these two lock it up again. I almost feel like there's not enough room for both of them on Raw. In an ideal world, I would love them to be baby faces, both of them. I mean, I know that Stone Cold and The Rock were arguably both baby face sometimes, and Triple H was the heel, aka Roman Reigns. But I think there's plenty of scope to actually turn Seth heel. I mean, turn Seth face now, especially with what happened with Brock Lesnar, and I'll discuss that in a moment. But again, you'll see when I mention it more, the problem with Lesnar is that he doesn't show up half the time. But the match was brilliant, and Finn Balor deserves to win the title, no doubt. I knew he was going to do it anyway. I mean, Seth's the kind of smart guy that can put people over. But the title belt itself was a ridiculous design. It looked like nothing's wrong with the women's title, but if you've already got a belt that looks exactly like that, apart from, I don't know, man, it was red background. I know they're doing it for Raw, but good God, man, championships are meant to be made of gold. That looked like something I'd make out of Play-Doh in primary school. It's ridiculous. But let's get on to one of the last matches of the night. John Cena versus AJ Styles. I know I just said Finn and Seth was match of the night, but I'm going to kill myself for this now. Can I have two match of the nights? Because if I can, this would be it. I think AJ Styles is the first man to actually kick out the top rope attitude adjustment as well. I might be wrong with that. I may be wrong with that, but it looked like he might have been. And damn, but Cena no sold that second Styles slash though. The right decision. Yes, completely, because now AJ Styles is going to challenge Dean Ambrose. John Cena is going to come out and endorse AJ as the better man. Cena can do something big for the next 2 months, whilst AJ defeats Ambrose, and then, those two will eventually probably battle again at the end of the year or even at the Royal Rumble for the WWE title, and everything will be fine and dandy. The spots in this match were brilliant, though. You can tell both men really wanted to leave it out there, and they deserved every applause they got. And I thought we were going to get a screwy finish. I thought there was a chance that Cena would win to kind of extend the feud, but I suppose Cena already got his win back with Enzo and Cass and the like before. So Styles goes on to challenge Ambrose while Cena does something else. But Cena's at the point in his career where wins and losses do not affect him at all. So moving on to the last two matches, Finn Balor? Wow, Finn Balor's on the brain, man. I'm a huge Finn Balor fan, but no, Rusev with Lana versus Roman Reigns. The match didn't even get started. What the hell was this, man? This is your United States Championship match, and you fucking get it as a no contest. WWE, you're getting too fond of no contest. That's exactly what you did with the Intercontinental belt, man. Leave it alone. Leave it alone, and that's it, man. It's ridiculous. Just let the match happen, or better yet, let Rusev win. Even if he has to cheat, you could just let him win. Let him do something. I don't know, but it's quite ridiculous. Okay, last match of the night. Now we have. Let me just get it up because I want to see how long it went. Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman defeated Randy Orton by technical knockout. What WWE is trying to be too much like UFC, but I do like it when finishes like this come around every now and then, but only 11 minutes, 45 seconds. And most of that time was spent with Lesnar dominating Randy Orton. Now, before I get into my problems with this match, it's very clear. First of all, Brock Lesnar is going to leave now, or leave after Raw tonight, if he even shows up. And Randy Orton's got to try and build himself up again. That's the exact problem. And Goldberg was in New York as well. Why can't you just pull the trigger on Goldberg? I get that Randy Orton kicked out of, you know, an F5. I get that. You know, I suppose he looks strong in doing that. But, like, this is a 12-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion or World Champion or whatever, man. A mixture of both. And he got decimated by Lesnar. Just stop it, man. Lesnar's stock isn't going to last forever. Hell, even him breaking the streak didn't do the business. The best thing you could have had is had Goldberg, who was in New York anyway, interfere in the match and then set something nice up. I don't know. It just seems stupid to me, especially the way that they ended it. Brock Lesnar beating Randy Orton, busted him open until the referee called it off. I get that kind of protects Randy Orton in a way, like he actually didn't get pinned or didn't submit or didn't give up himself. But in a way, how much can you possibly protect a guy that's got beat up so much that you can't continue? That's a really shaking off thing, and it annoys me. You know, whenever I touch my face or do that, it's because it annoys me, because I don't understand why you would have a match end like that. And then Brock Lesnar seemingly turns heel afterwards, dropping Shane McMahon with an F5. And Brock Lesnar's kicked out of an RKO. An RKO on the table and an RKO in the ring. Like, come on, man. What does it take? In fact, the only man to beat Lesnar in must be 3 years now is, oh, good God Almighty, is Undertaker, of course. And I was just trying to think, at WrestleMania 33, what did Lesnar do? He wrestled Dean Ambrose. Like, Lesnar's stock is falling, and the sooner people realise that, the better. I mean, he's just got busted for using drugs in UFC, man. I mean, he let every wrestling fan down. I was as hyped as anyone when Lesnar returned in 2012. It's been 4 years. It's been 4 years since then. And I can honestly say I don't really give a shit either way. I enjoy the whole Suplex City thing as much as anyone else, but I just don't see the point, man. We don't need Lesnar anymore. Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, fucking, you know what? Roman Reigns, even Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, Big Cass, Enzo Amore, even Enzo Amore. These guys could all be top singles competitors in years to come. Even Apollo Crews, I'm sure, has the athleticism to do something. Cesaro as well, even if I don't know, man. I'm just not sold on the Lesnar thing. I'm not sold. I don't like it. I don't. But that's just me. I feel like the way SummerSlam ended was ridiculous. Lesnar, I think it was a heel turn. I'm not sure. But we will see tonight on Raw. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching this review. Like I said, overall, I'd rate it as a good show, but there are a few matches that didn't belong there and a few questionable calls. The Sasha Banks Charlotte match, the way that the Lesnar Orton match ended, and even one or two others. And the no contest, definitely. WWE getting too fond of that on pay-per-views. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching this review. Till next time, this has been Take a Look. I'm out. Peace.